An inscribed angle is an angle with its vertex on the circle. And the two sides that make up the inscribed angle are called chords. C-H-O-R-D-S, chords. So before, when we were talking about central angles, the center of the circle was obviously at the center, right? And the two sides that made it up were the radius. This time, these side lengths are called chords. And the vertex is on the edge of the circle. An intercepted arc is the arc that lies between the endpoints. Let me zoom out, sorry. Between the endpoints of an inscribed angle. And the measure of the inscribed angle is equal to half the measure of its intercepted arc. Okay, so that's all the vocabulary, the definition. Here's really what that means. If you have an angle that's vertex is on the edge of the circle, so it's not to the center, it's on the edge somewhere. The arc is made up by the two endpoints that are on the circle. So this arc right here, AC, is between the 2 points, right, A and C. And let's say I tell you that this arc is 100 degrees. Then the angle that makes up that arc, so if you follow the two endpoints down, you follow the chords down to the vertex, this angle measure right here is half of it. So since this is 100, half of it is 50. Okay, so angle B would be 50 degrees, but the arc measure is 100 degrees. So obviously, if I give you this number, you would divide it by 2. If I give you the angle measure, you would multiply it by 2, right, to get to the outside. So the measure of angle ABC is essentially you take the arc, AC, and you divide it by 2. You take half of it. And that's all that those definitions say. Now, intercepting a diameter, again, this looks like more complicated than it really is. A diameter just means it's half the circle, right? So it's going halfway across, it goes through the center. So in my picture here, my diameter is this piece B to C. Okay, so that's 180 degrees. You will notice that the angle that makes up, the angle that opens up to this piece BC is angle A. And if it is an inscribed angle, that means it's half of that measure. So if this is 180 degrees, what does that mean angle A is if it's half of it? 90. It's 90 degrees, exactly. So it's a right angle. So if you see an angle that opens up to the diameter, it is a right angle. It's 90 degrees. So in my picture here, angle A is 90 degrees. Right, because it's opening up to half of the circle. Now, yeah.
So when it says like angle ABC or ABC, is it always in the, like, is the middle?
Yes.
Always in
It's always that middle letter is what you're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. So that's the second letter is always the vertex, and it's essentially what you can do is you can say from B to C, they both have to meet at A, the center point. That's a good question. Okay, for the third part there, it looks way more complicated than it is. This is a picture of overlapping arcs. So what it is you've got two angles that are literally laying on top of each other. Yes, Alexa?
Wait, so that's like if it crosses like the middle point, then you're going to be on right angles?
Say it again?
If that's saying like if the line crosses the middle point, then they're going to be right angles?
Correct, right, because then it would open up to be a diameter, which is half of the circle. It does have to go through the middle point. Yes, that's a good question. Good. Yeah, diameter has to go through the center. So like in this next picture here, there's no diameter in this picture because it does not go through the center point. So in my picture here, if two inscribed angles intercept the same arc, then the angles are congruent. They're exactly the same. So here's what that means. If you look at angle ABD, that means you're really looking at angle B. I'm going to kind of color in my angle B here. Okay. If you follow the chords that make up that angle, it opens up to which 2 points? What does that angle open up to? AD. Yep, right here. So it opens up to this piece right here, AD. If you look at angle C, what does angle C open up to? It opens up to the same thing. So because they both open up to the same arc, that means they better be exactly the same measure because they're opening up to the same thing. So angle ABD, this one in pink, is congruent to angle ACD. They should be exactly the same because they're opening up to the same arc. All right, now that was a lot of like vocab and some weirdness. Now we're going to do some problems, and I think the problems are going to make way more sense than the vocabulary does. Okay. And if you are a color coding kind of person, I am going to use 2 colors today. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at number 1. You're going to find each angle and arc measure as given to you. So in number 1, you are given arc WY is 62 degrees. You're trying to find the measure of angle WXY, which really just means you're trying to find this angle X right here. That's it, yeah. So what do you get for angle X? 31 degrees. That's it. That's it, I promise, that's it. Easy peasy, right? Okay, let's look at the second one. Number 2, this time. Right, so this time I give you the angle is 113. So to figure out this arc, DGF, this major arc here, I have to take that 113 and I have to, multiply it by 2. So you get 226 degrees, and please make sure you're putting the degree symbol. Okay, that's what an intercepted arc is. You just did them. You just did intercepted arcs. How do you feel? Right? Not bad. Okay, let's look at number 3. Before I even do this problem, what do you see in this picture that I haven't had yet before? You've got a triangle because you've got, what is this piece right here? It's not a chord. It's a diameter because it goes through the center. Also, it's chord, not chord. You just, ever like a music chord? Okay, well, I don't know. It's I didn't make the word. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. Okay, this is a diameter, which means it's how many degrees? 180. So if you're looking at angle Q, which opens up to that 180, what does that mean it is? It's 90. It's half of it. Yeah, that's it. Is it too easy? Okay, great. No, that just means I'm really good at explaining things. Okay, we'll step it up a little bit. Okay. Number 4, what should I do? This is a diameter, yeah, but it's right. I'm looking for a different piece. Now, I'm telling you that this is 47. Okay, so what can you figure out? Perfect. So to find AC, I'm going to multiply 47 times 2. Great. Now, that's this piece. Cool. What am I asking you for? Not that piece. I'm asking you for this one. BC. Yeah, so now this is where that diameter comes in handy. You know, this piece together, these two should be 180 degrees. So to get what's left over for this pink piece, I'm going to take 180 and I'm going to subtract 94. So it's 86 degrees. Perfect. And you're done. So that one was one extra step because I looked for a different arc. So just make sure you're reading the question so you're not like doing the wrong one, you know? How do you feel? So far, is it good? Okay. What should I do for 5? Times what by 2?
Oh wait, never mind. Divide. I don't know.
Well, I'm looking for angle K, right? So I'm trying to find this piece. Okay, if you're looking at angle K, what does angle K open up to?
The whole thing.
Not the whole thing, no it doesn't. JML, it opens up here, right? So I'm trying to figure out this piece. Well, there's nothing there. That's unhelpful. What do you have though? Okay.
Can't you minus that? I'll give you 60, which gives you the bigger one.
Yeah, so to figure out this pink piece, we can take away these 2 blue pieces from the whole thing. And the whole thing is? Yeah. Yeah, you can add them and subtract them from 360. Yes, you can. Okay, so that's 242. Okay, so that means this arc is 242, but I still am trying to figure out the angle. So what do? Divide it by 2. Good. 121 degrees. Yeah, so look, it's one extra step, but it's still intercepted arcs, right? You're still just either multiplying by 2 if you have the angle, or you're dividing by 2 if you have the arc. Okay, let's look at 6. 6 is easier than it looks. You've got some vertices, yes. Which ones? Okay. Which ones? Which would be one?
RS and T.
Okay, so you're given RS, TU. What else are you given?
Chords.
You are given some chords. You're also given. You're also given 139.
Vertical angle.
Well, there's no diameter in this one. Why not?
It doesn't.
No, TDS is not a diameter. It has to go through the center to be a diameter. But I'm glad you said that. Hey, what do you think?
Isn't that a vertical angle?
Where? Oh, there are vertical angles right there, but it doesn't really help me. Because what am I, well, first of all, what am I looking for?
Angle S.
Okay, angle S and angle U. So let's start there. Let's start with angle S. Now,
Well, vertical.
what does it, hold on. What does angle S open to? RT. Okay, so let's figure out RT. How could you figure that out?
Add 64, 75, and 139. Subtracted.
From 360, right? The whole thing. So let's start there. To find RT, I'm going to do 360 minus all of those numbers. I don't know what that is. So someone give it to me. Oh, 82. Thank you. Okay, so this arc is 82 degrees. What does that mean angle S is? What do I have to do? Divide it by 2. Good. So angle S is 41 degrees. Now, the next one is angle U. Here's angle U. What does angle U open to? It opens to the same thing. So what does that mean?
Angle S and U are
They are congruent. So they're both 41 degrees. Now, A, you are right. Those are vertical angles, but the issue is in this problem, you would have just had to have done like more work to use those vertical angles to help you out. You're not wrong, though. They are vertical angles. You're correct. Okay. What questions can I answer so far? We okay? Don't all jump up at once. Tell me how good you feel.
question.
You have to wait till someone gets back. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at number 7. Now, 7's a little different only because it's got algebra, but I actually think you're going to like the algebra ones more. I think they're easier. So The thing you're given first is arc CE is 158, right? That's the arc. Ignore the equation for a second. If that equation wasn't there, how would you figure out what angle D is?
Divided by 2.
You would divide it by 2. Okay, so what is that? That's 79 degrees. Okay, so this angle, angle D, is 79 degrees. But I have an equation there.
8x minus 9 equals
So put it
79.
equal to 79. So we don't want to plug it in because that's not the x value. We want to set it equal to 79 because we're saying this angle equals 79. And then it becomes algebra. So add 9. Yeah, wow, you guys are fast. Cool. X equals 11. And does it ask me to do anything else? No, so I'm done. Okay, you do number 8. You try 8 and we'll check and we'll see if it's the same thing. That's a plus. Then give me a little like thumbs up when you're done. So in order to check. Okay, what did you get? 19. Do we agree or disagree? Good. Very nice. So, good. If you double that 67, that gives you 134. So that arc is worth 134. And then you set your equation equal to 134. Solve the algebra. Okay? That's as hard as intercepted arcs get right there. You've done it. You're finished. How do you feel? We do have to do a back. Yeah, we're gonna do the back today. We're gonna like rush through. All right, flip it over to the back then, my dears. Now, on the back side, we have something called inscribed quadrilaterals. Now, before we do anything, what's a quadrilateral? 4 sides. Okay, you'd be surprised that everybody said that today. It was a scary moment. If you add up all the angles in a quadrilateral, what do you get?
360 or 180. It's one of those.
Well, think about 180 is a triangle, right? How many triangles fit in a quadrilateral? 2 of them, so it's 360. Also notice that the quadrilateral inside of the circle is 360. Wild, right? Because the circle's also 360. Crazy. Okay. So, if you have a quadrilateral inscribed in a circle, that means if you have a quadrilateral inside of a circle and all 4 of the vertices are on the edge of the circle, then the opposite angles are supplementary. Who remembers what that means?
Something to do with
It does. So supplementary literally means adds up to 180. So in my picture here, in my circle on the right, the 2 angles that are across from each other, so opposite is essentially diagonal. So angle A and angle C should add up to be 180. Additionally, angle B and angle D should add up to be oops, 180 as well. And obviously in total you get 360, right? So I think these are actually a little bit easier because once you know one, it's easy to figure out what the other one is. The supplementary adds up to 180. So we're not going to do all the ones on this. We're going to do some. Let's do, well, number one's easy, but we'll do number one. Okay. Who wants to give it a shot? We're going to do 1 and 2. Angle J or angle K, which one? Okay, J. How can I figure out angle J? Subtract what? Yeah. So these two are across from each other. They should add up to be 180. So we're going to take 180. We're going to subtract the 92. That'll give us what's left over. What is that? Okay, so angle J is 88 degrees. Now, you've got some fun choices here. To figure out angle K, what's one thing you could do? Shannon? Okay, that's one thing you could do. What's another thing you could do? Woo! I like where you're headed, but if you multiply the 45 by 2, that gives you J to L. That gives you the arc. Not a bad choice. What else could you, A?
You could add up the known angles together and then subtract them from 360.
Yep, you can subtract them all from 360 as well. Both of those are fine. You'll get the same answer. It's just, it's like however you think works for me. Okay? All right, we're going to do 2, and then it's time for you to try some problems on your own. I can do an algebra one, but then you have to do the other ones by yourselves. Okay? All right, let's do 5 then. Fine. Okay. Well, what do you think? Number 5, what do you think?
Okay. Well, they're already opposite.
They're already opposite? Oh, there's no diameter.
But it makes it.
No.
Don't you make them equal to 180?
Yeah. So diameter has to go through the center, but you've got 2 angles, angle V and angle T, that are across from each other. So what does that mean about them? They're what? They're not congruent. They're supplementary. They add up to 180. So I want to write an equation that says when I combine them, I get 180. What does that equation look like? Perfect. You also could have, if you wanted to, said, if you know these are both 180, you could have subtracted 133, gotten this angle, and then set this equal to whatever that angle is. There's multiple ways to get the same answer. Either one's cool with me. But you gotta do some algebra. Okay? All right, and then you combine some like terms here. Can I just not do this? I'm just gonna go like this.
No, you have to.
Ta-da, there you go. Look, if you know the setup, you can do your own algebra. I believe in you. Okay? No, you're not, because you're about to get a negative divided by a negative.
Oh.
We're just going to give you a positive. No worries. Should I have done this problem? So 133 and 62 gives you 195 minus the 5x equals 180. And then to get x by itself, you subtract 195. I get negative 5x equals negative 15. And divide both sides by negative 5. Yeah? Where did you get that was different?
No, I didn't get anything.
How I got where? Are we cool with the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. So from here, you're just combining like terms, right? So 133 and 62 gives you 195. So I brought that down. And I've got the minus 5x, so I also brought that down. And now are you good? Okay. Wonderful. All right. So here's what you're going to do. We've got 10 more minutes. You've got some problems to finish. I am going to check them tomorrow for a grade. You can work with people around you, but on questions 1, 2, and 3, I know it doesn't say it, but it should say, I didn't realize I didn't put like directions. That would have been helpful. For 1, 2, and 3, you're going to solve for x. Okay. And then for number 4, obviously, you're just figuring out the angle measures that I've listed there for you. Okay. So solve for x for 1 through 3.
What? It's not from the homework problems.
On the homework problems?
Oh, okay.
Down at the bottom where it says
And you
homework.
only did this one.
No, I'd like you actually to finish the other ones as well. Okay. But I'm just saying for these 3, I should have written it down, solve for x, okay? So work with people at your table. You got about 10 minutes. I think you can get through a good chunk, and then I'm grading them tomorrow. Okay?